Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and happy fall, happy autumn. However you refer to that. Some people love fall and some people love autumn. So I call it whatever I'm in the mood for at the time. So thank you for being here and please say hi and let me know where you're joining me from. And welcome to episode 4 of Practicality and Magic. We are talking today all about finding safety in the midst of change. And, this is not an easy time that we are in. There is a lot going on, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear swirling in the collective and all around. So, we want to be mindful of that. So here we are in fall, the first day. And this is a big week, right? This is such a magical week because we've had this beautiful full moon in Pisces on Monday. And today we're in the equinox. And so this is a magical week, right? And there's lots of themes for fall. There's letting go and protection and preservation and change, right? There's a lot of change that occurs in the fall. And sometimes we can welcome it and sometimes we don't. So, hi, Dana. Hi, Gina. Welcome. But fall, the theme that I'm really looking at for fall for this entire season is change. Okay. And that's the one constant that we have in life. I mean, I think the philosopher Heraclitus said, the one constant in life is change, right? And you can count on it. It is the one thing that you can count on. And the more that we love how things are and the more resistant we are to change, it seems like the more things try to change, right? So we want to be really aware of that. And, change is necessary and purposeful. We need change because it's how we grow, it's how we move, it's how we evolve, it's how we become who we are here to be, right? And that's the very practical, that's for the human. And then there's also this spiritual side where change is essential because we are all energetic beings, right? We are all energy. And as such, energy has to move. It requires movement. If it doesn't get movement, it becomes toxic. And, that's where we run into issues. So, change and movement is essential. All right. Change doesn't always feel good. We know that, right? It can be scary. It can be super scary. So we often resist it. And the reason that we resist it is because in the change, we can feel very out of control. And we do not want to feel out of control. Every single person, every single human wants to feel in control, right? We all do. It's just part of our human condition. It's part of our process of learning how to be human, right? The spiritual side knows that we're fine and we're safe and secure, and the human side wants to feel safe and secure by being in control. Okay. I believe that control is the driving force of so many things that we do. And it is the reason that we make a lot of the choices that we make. Okay. We just want to be in control. Even if it is, sorry guys, I'm going to move my, little stand there closer. Sorry for that. But even if it's just the illusion of control, which, let's be honest, oftentimes it is just the illusion. Oh, good morning. Good morning. So good to see you, Denise. So this is the truth of it. I am a control freak in recovery. I'm a control addict in recovery. I've been walking the path of this recovery. And for quite a while, it's been like 9 years that I've seriously done it, walking this path of letting go or doing my best to let go every day. I'm not perfect, and it is hard, but I have been seriously doing this work of control um for about, like I said, 9 years. And that's when I really became honest. And that's the truth of it. We have to become honest about, when we're in any type of an addictive relationship with something, right? Whether it be a substance or a behavior, a pattern, whatever it is, we have to be honest about it. And that was when I really got honest, like, oh my goodness, I have control issues. Like, I am trying to control so many things in my life. So I've come a long way, right? In the 9 years, I still have a lot of work to do, but that's the point of it. It isn't easy, but it's doable. We can all do this. And this is really the crux of fear in a lot of ways. So, because we're here on Practicality and Magic, which is where, I always like to talk about both sides of us as humans and spiritual beings. We need the practical and we need the magic. So, now we're going to talk about some very practical tools for managing control. Okay. So, I think it's really important that we have tools and tips that are very practical and doable. Otherwise, we won't do them. If they feel too hard, if they feel too out of our wheelhouse or out of the realm, or they don't feel manageable, we're just not even going to attempt it. And to me, I don't want things that I'm not going to be able to employ, or that don't make sense, or that aren't going to work. I want something that's work. I want tried and true. I want, you know, things that are going to work. And I also want comments from you guys. Do you have issues with control? I would love for you to share with me. That's not an easy thing for us to admit, right? It isn't an easy thing for us to admit, especially people that are on a spiritual path, right? We don't want to admit that we have any control issues because it doesn't seem very spiritual. It doesn't seem very like, ooh, that's not a good thing to admit. But the truth will set us free. And the honesty is where we begin, right? And it can be a full blown control addiction, or it can be something, just some minor things that you want to tweak. Everything in between, right? Runs the gamut. So I would love to hear from you guys. Hi, Les. Welcome. So these are my tips. So the first one, Dana says, I love this, Dana. Dana says, I do, and was in denial for a long time. Amen. I was in denial for such a long time. I come from a really long line of control freaks. And honestly, for a very long time, I realized that I was, a control freak or a control addict, but I didn't really understand the depth of the problem, because what I had been shown or modeled or taught through other people in my life was that the type of control that I was exhibiting was for the person's own good. It was like a protective control. It was safety or whatever, or all sorts of things that we tell ourselves that are not true, by the way, right? It's all based in fear. But so, number one, you have to admit that you have an issue wanting to control for whatever reason, right? And this is where we say, yes, I control, but it's because of this. We try to excuse it away, that denial that Dana was talking about. And we don't want to do that anymore. We just want to say, I've got an issue with control. Boom. And it can just be in one area, right? We just might have an issue with this situation or this person or whatever it is, right? For me, when I clear all the clutter of the control in the situation and I get to the basis of it, it's usually about protection and safety, right? And it doesn't matter what your reason is, what the reason is, just admit that you have an issue with it. That's the first place, okay? Then tell yourself the hard truth that You are powerless to control anything outside of your life. Anything that's outside of you and outside of your realm, right? This is the only control we have is us, our responses or our reactions sometimes, right? But that's it. The choices that we make are the only control that we have. We have no control over anything that's outside of us. This includes people, this includes situations, all of it, nothing. We have no control. So that's number 2. Number 3, identify a few areas that you have control issues. Who are you trying to control? Where are you trying to control them? What situation are you trying to control? One area that I have had a really hard time that's been like sticky and a real challenge is with my kids because we're told, right, that as parents, we need to be in control all the time. And yes, to a certain extent, when our children are young and little, we do need to be in control, right? We do need to be in control. But it's not like we do that and then when they turn a certain age, a switch flips and we stop. No, the pattern continues. And so this has been probably the hardest place for me. We want to really teach our kids that they can know for them. And so when we don't do that, when we don't give them the space to know for them, they can't know. And it's kind of a catch 22 because like I always used to before I had kids, I would always say, like, my biggest goal as a mother is going to be to raise free thinkers. Well, damn it, I did it. And it's a great thing on the one hand, but boy, is it a challenge as a parent to have free thinkers and to support and love them through that. But, I got my wish and my kids are free thinkers and it's great. So at some point I was able to give them the space, but now they're both adults. And so now I've had to work on, not doing it. So within this step, there's another step. Within step 3, there's a sub step A. And that is to decide what you can do, right? To give yourself to work on that. And for me with my kids, it was to stop rushing in to either save the day or have the perfect advice or the perfect intuition in my case, right? Which can happen because that is my profession. I'm a psychic medium and an intuitive. So I know stuff. And I get information about my kids, but that doesn't mean that it's always right, right? Sometimes they have to go their, well, not sometimes, they have to go their own course and figure it all out for themselves, right? So don't rush in. So if you're not sure with this step 3, identifying where your control issue is, okay, then there's a really simple way to do this. And this is how I figured it out over the course of these 9 years. I think about the situation, right? I close my eyes, I take a few breaths, and I think about the situation. And I notice my body as I'm bringing that situation into view. Okay. I notice, do I feel constrictive or do I feel open? If I feel constrictive, I'm trying to control it. If I feel open, I'm not. Okay, so that's a tried and true. Your body never lies, ever, ever, ever. Okay, so hi, Claire. So good to see you. Happy fall. Well, yes, Leslie says, and this is very true, Les. They they do not want to hear or know it. That is true. However, what I have done is I have taken a step back and I've really tried really hard. I'm not perfect because I am a human, right? So I'm not perfect, but I try very hard to not give any advice unless it's asked. Okay. So if my kids ask, then I, will come in with whatever, right? Whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm intuitive thing I'm getting, because Les is an intuitive medium as well. So when you're in that realm, you get a lot of stuff for your kids, and that's not an easy place to be. But I try to not go there unless I'm invited. Okay? That is like so key for a control addict, a control freak, to wait to be invited. And that is like hard. It's hell sometimes to wait to be invited when you know what you have to offer or you know how you can help. But it's always good to wait to be invited. Let's see. I'm not sure, Les, what same here. And even when mine ask, I think hard on it before I do. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. That's exactly what I do. I think hard, even when I'm invited sometimes, because it's like I have to ask myself, can I give this and then walk away? Can I give it and not be attached to whether they take it or not, right? And that's hard. That's real hard. Okay, so number 4, give yourself permission to take a pause, okay? Just because you get like a text or a call or an email does not mean that you have to respond or react to it immediately. You get to choose when it's good for you to respond. Okay. So, and what I mean by this is if somebody messages you, we often have an obligation thinking, I have to respond like that. Give yourself permission to not respond. That's taking your control, right? The obligation removes our freedom, right? And it removes our control and gives it to the obligation or to that person or situation. So you want to make sure that at any opportunity, you can take control back. Okay. Number 5, build in a safety net. And what I mean by this is you can allow X amount of time, you get to choose before you respond to something that triggers you. Okay. If you do this, so like, let's say that you just have a rule. If I'm triggered by something, an email or a text or a phone call or something, I give myself a half hour before I respond, or an hour before, or a day, whatever it is, right? I got a text message last Thursday afternoon. It came in at like 4:30. And I saw the name of the person and I knew immediately, I'm not going to read this. I'm not even going to open it. I'm not looking at it until I'm ready. I wasn't ready until Friday morning, but I gave myself permission because I knew not only did I not want to read it, but I was in a situation where I was enjoying myself and I wanted to continue enjoying it. So that gave me power, right? That gave me control of my situation, my emotions, all of it. Just going, oh, somebody texted, I've got to open it. No, that's not the way it works. And we've kind of become that way because we're in this instant gratification society now with, everything is instant. We can talk to somebody instantly. We can leave a voicemail, we can text, we can email, we can get people. And so we think that we need to respond right now, but that removes control from us. So build that pause in. And then it'll be a response and it'll be from your highest good. If not, it'll most likely be a reaction, which is never in your highest good, or like 99.9% of the time, it's never in your highest good. And you can save a lot of energy by doing this, by building in that safety net, I call it. I also build in time within this tip, this number 5. I also build in time for myself every day to be disconnected. Time where I know, where I am in full control of my time, where I'm not going to be getting the, knowing that I'm getting texts or seeing my phone or emails or calls or whatever it is. So I like keep my phone off until a certain time in the morning. I also build in little chunks of time throughout the day where like I actually have alarms that I set where it's like, oh, it's 12:30. It's my break time. So I put my phone, I turn it off sometimes for 15 minutes. And that just gives me a total break where I know I cannot be interrupted because our best intentions sometimes can be waylaid just by seeing something out of the corner of our eye, right? We can have the intention to not be interrupted, but then we'll see that we got a notification and, our curiosity gets the best of us and we got to see what it is. And that can take us down this whole other path where our time is not within our control. Okay. So I love to do that. I also have periods of the day where I go put my phone on my nightstand and I'm in a whole other area of the house. I even leave the house sometimes without my phone just because I need to remind myself that I'm in control of this, right? And it's easy to forget. It's easy to just get in this habit, in this routine. And before we know it, we feel like we're slaves to all of this. So it's important to do that. It's exhausting to be available 24/7, right? And it's very freeing to give yourself some space. And we want to always remember that we are sovereign beings and our freedom, our control, our sovereignty is our responsibility. Um, Lisa Gunshore, the Buddhist biohacker, had the most incredible video on Monday night it wasn't for the full moon, but it necessarily, but she talked about that a little bit, but she talks about responsibility and the meaning of that word, response and ability, right? So it can be broken down into that. And we do have the ability to respond. And it is within our ability how we respond. And if we don't take back our freedom and create that space for ourselves, we forget our responsibility to ourselves. So give yourself some space. I love that. I love that. Yes, Dana says that this was a huge lesson for me over the past few years. I have a 24-year-old and a 21-year-old really need to let go. Yep. And so hard as parents, it is the hardest. I mean, it's hard to let go in any situation where you feel compelled, but it's always good. And it gives everybody space because what did we talk about at the very beginning of this show is change and how we're all energetic beings. And so we need to move, we need to grow, we need that space for movement. And when we're doing this, we don't bring the space in. We constrict it and we remove the space. And it's not good for us and it's not good for anybody in our life, right? So, guys, again, tell me, like, if you want to, I would love for you to share where you're having some issues with control, maybe right now in your life, and maybe at the end of this, we can pull some cards. So, anyway, number 6, be aware of where you are overgiving. Overgiving is a really big issue for a lot of us. I say most of us because number one, we're taught to do it. And number 2, we're not really aware of it. Okay. And again, overgiving often comes from a place of lack and trying to control a situation or trying to feel in control, right? We are trying to feel in control. So even procrastination can be a form of control where we are avoiding or delaying the outcome of a situation, right? And when we look closely at it, there's always something that we are avoiding or trying to control when we're procrastinating. And overgiving is just not good. I mean, we overgive to other people, we overgive to ourselves. So going back to tip number 5, which was, build some space in your day, right? Where you're not available, where you're just not available. You're available only to you. That's an example of perfect giving, right? That's an example of bringing that overgiving into balance, where you are saying, I'm not going to overgive my time, right? I'm not going to overgive my availability, which is often what we want to do. So, and number 7, be aware. Hold the intention to be aware of where control might be coming up for you. Okay. This is the perfect place to begin. So we may not be aware. We may not really see it because sometimes we don't. We're just in it and we don't see it. And that's okay. But just hold the intention to be aware of where in life control might be coming up. Because, and again, we're talking about control here because when we feel in control, we're more open to change, right? When we feel in control, we don't resist it. We don't feel so afraid of what may or may not be coming. We also don't live in the future where we're anxious and worrying about what might come or what might not come, right? We're comfortable staying right here in the present moment. That's our natural set point. And all of the fear that's swirling, because there is so much fear still, right? It's been here. There's always been fear. But for since I'd say February of 2020, the fear started amping up and it has not stopped since, and it keeps amping up. It keeps becoming, now we need to fear this and still this and then this. And so even if you do not feel like you are fearful, it's in the collective. And every single person on this call with me, and I'm sure watching the replay, is empathic. So you are sensitive to it and you're taking it on. So it might be coming into a space that you don't even realize. All right. So just be aware, hold the intention. So when I'm not sure, if I've got some control issues or if I'm trying to control in a situation, I'll just say, I'm not seeing this, but I'm willing to see it. So if it's there, please show me, allow me to know. Okay, so let's see. Claire says, thank you, Claire, for responding. With your relationship, I'm in a loving, committed relationship, but had a boundary of where we should be by now. I'm realizing that it's about control and I'm having trouble just being in, and she's having trouble just being in the present and trusting. Oh, Claire, that is so perfect. And I'm sure that most of us here can relate to that. Me, hello. Timing is one of the hardest places for us to not be in control or not try to control. And what I mean by timing is we have very definite expectations or ideas of how things should happen and when they should happen. And when they don't happen that way, we have all sorts of triggers that go off that we use to define, right? And so there are things like, well, if so and so, if my partner loved me, this would happen, or it would have happened by now. If they loved me, they would have done this. If I used to have this ridiculous thing with my husband. Not love. It's a little bit of my OCD part of me, the control part of me, but I love to have my bed made during the day. It's like my day doesn't feel complete or it feels off and wonky if my bed's not made. So I love to have my bed. So sometimes I'm up before my husband and I can't make the bed right away when I get up. And so he doesn't make the bed. He doesn't care. He doesn't think it matters. He's like, why make it? We're going to get back in it. So, but to me, it was a personal affront. He doesn't make the bed. He doesn't love me. And one day I was just like, I was actually making the bed and it was like a lightning bolt, which seems so stupid and simple. But in retrospect, I was so into the story I was telling myself about the personal affront his not making the bed was to me that I wasn't able to see it. But as I was making the bed, it occurred to me like, he doesn't make the bed because he doesn't care about the bed. It's not that he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about the bed, right? And so we want to be really careful. So like the detrimental energy that me being in that space, buying into that story, trying to control that situation, trying to make my husband make the bed, control him into making the bed. I can't even imagine the detrimental energy that created and all of the difficulties in our relationship that came about simply because of that energy that I was in. Like, like it's embarrassing, right? But let me tell you, when I was in it, I was fully in it and I believed it and I was willing to fight about it. Wow. Anyway, so be mindful of that. So yes, where you should be by now, how people should respond or react, or how they should be in a relationship with you. Those are all issues that are based in control. Okay. So be aware of that. The book, The Four Agreements, I don't know which agreement it is, but to me, it's like the one that I come back to all the time. Take nothing personally. Take nothing personally, because it isn't. People do stuff because it's important to them, or they don't do stuff because it's important to them, or they just have their own thing, which we all do, right? So take nothing personal. All right. So now, ladies, I think we're all ladies on here, and gentlemen, for anybody watching the replay. I can't say that it's all ladies on here. I'm sorry. So we are at the time where we are going to do a little meditation. Okay. So this is the magic part of the Practicality and Magic, which I am all about. So I invite you to just get comfortable. This is not going to be a really long one. We're just going to go in. We're going to go in deep and quick and do some work and then come back and finish our discussion. So get comfortable. You can place your hands on your heart center if you want, one on heart, one on belly, at your lap, whatever. Just be open. I don't want anything crossed for this meditation, please. No arms folded, no feet crossed. I guess if you're sitting on the floor and your legs are crossed, that's fine. But be as open as you can and just notice. So I want us to we're going to take 3 nice deep belly breaths. So I want you to take the breath in through your nose, all the way down through the lungs. Expand your belly first, then expand up into the lungs. Hold it for a few moments and release out your mouth. Okay. 3 of those. With each inhale, feel yourself filling up with peace and calm and love. And with each exhale, you're letting go of whatever is up here, whatever is controlling your mind. So it might be something you're going to do after this call. It might be a to-do list. It might be something that happened before you got on this live. Whatever it is, just press pause on it, knowing that you will come back to it right when we're done. You have control of that. You don't have to worry. You won't forget. It'll be there. But this is time for you. This is that space that you're allowing yourself. You deserve it. It's within your control. You can do this. So I want you to bring your awareness to your head area, your head and neck area. And just notice this area. Your forehead, the brow, your eyes, your nose, your cheeks, your mouth, your tongue, your jaw, the back of your head, the nape of your neck, your throat. Just notice. We're not changing anything, we're just noticing. Another nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, let's expand down to the shoulders and the arms and the hands and the chest. So notice your elbows and your wrists and your hands and your fingers and your chest area, the lungs, the heart. Just notice. Just breathe into this space. And again, if you notice some areas of discomfort, just notice it. We're not trying to change anything. We're just noticing. Another nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, expand down into the stomach area and the pelvic area and the hips and the buttocks and the pelvic bone and the pelvic area. And just notice. Deep breath, breathe life and light into that area. And on the exhale, let's expand down into the thighs and the knees, the calves and the shins and the ankles and the feet and the toes. And just notice how good it feels to be aware of your body, your complete body, all of you from head to toe and everything in between. Nice inhale and breathe. Breathe into your whole body. And on the exhale, expand that awareness out from your physical body, out into your energetic, your etheric body, which expands about arm's distance out, all around you, above your head, below your feet, all around. Just notice your energetic body. And if you can't notice it, it's okay. Just hold the intention to be aware of it. And a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, notice that you are being supported by something, a type of pedestal, if you will. Beneath you, you might be standing on it, you might be sitting on it, you might be lying on it, but it's a pedestal of some sort, a pedestal that is connected to the earth. Notice your pedestal. Notice everything you can about it. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What size is it? How do you feel while you're on it? Just notice. If you notice that you don't feel the way that you want to feel on the pedestal, ask yourself what you can do to change it. Maybe you need to increase its size. Maybe you need to bring in something to make it more comfortable. Whatever it is, just allow yourself to do that. With each breath, we can enact the change that we need, or with each breath, we can just connect deeper with the pedestal that we have that feels great. So whatever experience you're having, just use your breath to deepen it, to expand it for yourself so that you feel safe and secure. And I want you to really notice how connected you are to the earth, how connected you are to the solidity of the earth, to the connection that the earth provides, the connection to your higher self, to the connection that is everything. All the energy, all the consciousness, the divine in everything, the divine that is everything. And just breathe in this space and connect and deepen. Make any tweaks and adjustments that you need. And if you're having trouble, that's okay too. Just allow yourself to breathe and connect to your sense of you right now in this moment. If your pedestal feels wonderful to you, ask it if there's any message that you need or what you need to know today. If your pedestal doesn't feel great, if you're not feeling comfortable with it, ask it what the issue is, why you're not feeling comfortable, where you're not feeling in control. Both are perfect. Wherever you find yourself is exactly where you are supposed to be today. A few more moments, just connecting with this pedestal. Just feel all that you want. Get all that you need from this time. And if you are uncomfortable, just remind yourself that right here, right now, in this moment, all is well. All is well, and you are perfect. Now take another nice deep breath in. Hold for a few moments, a few extra moments, and then release out your mouth. And begin to come back present. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Another nice deep breath to bring you back into noticing your body, into feeling all the sensations. And when you are ready, gently, gently open your eyes. You don't want to do that quickly. You want to be very gentle. And I always like to name a few things around me: door, painting, clock, computer. And we're back. So I hope that was really helpful for you all. Okay, so the thing with a pedestal is they change, right? So for instance, my pedestal, and by the way, I would love for you guys to share with me, if you want, any experience that you had with this meditation, if what your pedestal was, if it was good, if it was, not comfortable, if you had trouble, whatever your experience is, I would love for you to share that. So my pedestal was this beautiful piece of like marble, like Italian marble. And it was gorgeous. And it wasn't huge, but it was plenty big. I felt like I had more than enough room to do everything that I needed and wanted. But it wasn't real comfy because it was kind of cold and like hard. And so I needed some things. So these beautiful black velvet pillows appeared, and they were different shapes and sizes. So I had some that were small and some that were large to lay on, and it was so comfortable and it warmed it up. And then I thought, oh, I need a blankie. So this beautiful black blankie appeared on me that was very warm and fuzzy and soft. And my pedestal happened to be in the branches of an aspen tree, which was so beautiful because I felt so connected to the earth. But I was really high up in the tree. It was a really tall tree and I was really high up, and that didn't feel comfortable. It felt exposed. It felt like I was too high. I like if I fell over, it wouldn't be good. And it was windy. It wasn't fun. So I told the tree it needed to lower me. And it was like the tree had like a pulley system and it lowered me down to a place that was very comfortable, which was wonderful. So I loved that. And the importance of that meditation, I mean, is because the only place that we can truly feel safe and secure is within us, right? And that is determined by our pedestal. So there have been times when I've done that meditation and my pedestal has been like this little teeny beam, like a balance beam, only thinner, that I'm trying to balance on. And that tells me like, you don't feel safe and secure in life right now. You don't feel like you have sure footing. And so then I can go and say, that's where I ask, like, where am I not feeling safe and secure? Where am I not feeling in control? And then I can go and, you know, do do what I need to do with gaining that sense of safety and security and control within myself. Because again, it's only within us, it's never outside of us. Our sense of safety and secure is not in our job, it's not in our home, it's not in our relationships, it's not in, all these things that society has told us our safety and security is rooted in it. And boy, is it damn hard not to believe that, right? We want to believe that, but it isn't. Our safety and security is within us. I had a woman tell me back when I'm a hairdresser. So back in the day when I was doing hair, I had this woman tell me that our sense of safety and security is with our talent, period. Because, and like she wasn't talking about one talent that we might have. So my safety and security isn't in my being a psychic medium. My safety and security is in the ability that I have to be fully connected to the divine, to my highest self, and to know the next right step for me. So that if I need to change something, I can. So that if I need to tweak it, I can. If I need to go get this skill, I can. If I need to get that skill, I can. That's our talent, right? Our talent is our ability to change. That's our superpower. Our ability to be connected, to follow the guidance, and to change as needed, right? So that's important. We need to know that. So our sense of safety and security is always within us. It's never in something external, ever. And I think that we are learning that. We're getting a lesson about that right now, in that, we it's hard to know who to trust right now, because everywhere we look, there's contradictions, right? Or it's this one day and not this another day. And that's hard to trust and have faith in, right? When really it's got to come from within us, and it's going to be different. My feeling is not going to be the same as your feeling. Sometimes we might align, but sometimes we might feel different. That's why it's so important that we respect ourselves as sovereign beings, and we respect everybody as a sovereign being, that everybody has their opportunity to change and choose for them, right? Make the choice for them, and to change their mind if they need to. I might feel one way about something today, and tomorrow it could be completely different. It could be completely different in an hour. Let's be honest, okay? It could be completely different in that time frame. Let's see, Claire, thank you for, she was, I was confused and uncomfortable by my pedestal, so I completely changed it. Location, shape, and everything. It was cold and in a wide open, lonely place, but it was a beautiful place. So I hesitated. Oh, I love that. So it was beautiful, but it was cold and wide open, so you didn't feel safe. But because it was beautiful, you wondered if you should change. But did you change? Because that's the important thing, right? Is to go with what feels the best. What feels the best. Now, the reason that our foundation is so important always. And I do that little meditation for my foundation quite often. And it can be, this actually wasn't a real long one. Sometimes I do a really long involved pedestal meditation. Today was like a medium one. Sometimes I do a really quick thing where I just go in and I scan and I get a glimpse of it and see where I'm at and what I need to do to change it. Okay. There is a product my earth, okay? Earth is what I use when my pedestal isn't what I want it to be. When I am not feeling safe and secure within myself, I come to earth. I spray this on my feet at bed often and on my sheets because it is the most wonderful thing to have the most restful, regenerative, beautiful night's sleep. Because when we feel safe and secure, when we are fully embodied, we sleep better. And earth is like magic for that. So, but I use earth whenever I'm needing to adjust my pedestal, whenever I'm not feeling safe and secure within myself. But the reason that this is so essential, especially, I mean, always, but today, because we're starting fall, today's the first day of fall. And don't you love that it's the 22nd and it's the first day of fall? Like 22 is my number. I love 22. I love numbers, and 22 is so magical. But fall is my theme for fall is fall into alchemy. It's like fall into our inner alchemist and embrace it and understand it and get to know what it is. All right. And when we talk about being alchemists, change is at the foundation of that, right? Change is at the absolute foundation of alchemy, because alchemy is taking something ordinary and turning it into extraordinary, something extraordinary. So it's change at the basis, right? That's everything. So, in order to work our magic, our unique alchemy, our talent, right? We must be open to change. What I was just explaining about, our talent is not what we do, it's our ability to connect. That's our talent. We must feel safe and secure in order to be the alchemist. So, we want to go back to that pedestal when we need to, right? We want to go back to that pedestal and know that we can adjust it. That's our connection. We can adjust it. That's our divine. We can adjust that pedestal and go from feeling absolutely unsafe and unprotected to safe and protected. Okay. And again, my earth blend is really good for this. But at the root, it's all about perception. How we perceive someone, how we perceive a situation, how we perceive ourselves determines whether we can employ our magic or not. That's the bottom line of this. Ourselves, whether we can, employ our magic for ourselves, for our situation, it really does determine our ability to change or not to change, right? And the thing about perception is it's really tricky. Do we really know what is? Like, we think we do, but do we? Do we really? We can absolutely trust our feeling. We know that. I mean, like, that's 100%. And I'm not talking about a feeling that comes from our thought, because we do have feelings that come from our thoughts, but I'm talking about the feelings that are in our body. Those we can trust 100% of the time, always. Tried and true. Like, we feel something's going to happen, but we have no idea of the timing. We think we do, and we really, really want to, but we don't. The timing is not in our control. Like we talked earlier with the situation with relationships, timing is not in our control. We have a human perception of time, and it doesn't correlate all the time with our, perception of the timetable that actually is. So we doubt ourselves and we feel out of control. And then that makes us grasp for control outside of ourselves again, right? But that's not what we want. We want to be okay with change, right? So there's a show that I love, and I was like obsessed with it when it came out. It's called The Affair. I think it was on Showtime. It might be on Netflix. I don't know. But I was obsessed with it, not because, I mean, like the show, it was kind of frustrating, but because I'm a sociologist, I have a degree in sociology. And so I am fascinated with how people work with each other, right? And in this show, has anybody here seen it? Does anybody know what I'm going to talk about with this? But it's so interesting to me because it's all about perception. Each show at the beginning was broken up into two parts. So it was broken up into two characters, and each half was that character's version. So one half was one character and one half was the other. Same situation, but their versions. And I was fascinated by it because it's so true. So, and like the first half might be the husband's version or the main male character. And everything was one way. Clothes were one way, dialogue was one way, even the weather was one way. And then you go to the other person, the female character most often, and it was completely different. She looked different. She was dressed different. They were in different places. The conversation was completely different. And it was such a an experiment in our social skills and our socializing with each other and our perception, that it was just brilliant. And I loved watching it because of that, because I couldn't wait to see like what was going to be different. And it really brought into the tangible for me that, for agreements of never take anything personally. And the thing that it showed me was like, we're so sure that we know what happened, but somebody else that we are having communication with is seeing it completely opposite. So what's the truth? My version, their version, probably something in the middle, right? Probably something in the middle. So if that's the case, if it's something in the middle, then we want to be aware of that and not be so tied to our version, our timeline, right? Which is our control. Oh, I know this happened. I'm positive of it. That's our control. Or if we can say, oh, I'm not really sure, like that's what I remember, I think, but I don't know, right? That can feel insecure, right? We can have some insecurity about that. But it's really important that we hold it all loosely, that we hold it loosely. That's where our magic comes into play. That's where the energy swirls and flows. And that's where we are our alchemists, our own alchemists. Okay. So we have to be okay with change. And it's really tested when we think we know what's going to happen, all the details, the how, the when, the where. And then it doesn't work out that way. So years and years ago, when I was just a newbie psychic medium, and I knew I wanted to work somewhere, but I didn't know where. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was divinely led. So I said, I have no idea where I'm supposed to do this, but I'm open. So show me. So I was taking a shower one day, and I don't know if you guys notice this, but I always get like great insights when I'm in water, when I'm taking a bath, when I'm in the shower, when I'm washing dishes, things like that. So I was taking a shower one day, and I just saw this vision of me doing readings in this office that I had been in. And it's this local store owned by this gentleman who, I don't know if you'd call him a medical medium, but I think so. But anyway, he does consultations. He does appointments with people. And I'd had an appointment with him in his office. And I saw me doing readings at his office, in his office. So I thought, oh, okay, well, that's where I need to go. So I called him. And he said, oh, yeah, the person who has the room that's available for rent, let me give you her name and number. And I thought, somebody, another office in your store? No, that's not what I saw. Hello, I was in your office. But I took the name and the number and I called, and just so happened that there was one day a week that was open. And I was so perplexed because it's like, this is not at all what I saw, but I took it. I took the space and I took the time and I took the day in this other office. And I probably did readings at that store in that other office for 2 years, maybe 2 years. And then maybe 3 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The timing does not matter. It was a long time. And let me tell you, in that time, I kept going back to that vision and thinking, how could it have been so off? Like, where was I so off? But what happened is, and I can't remember the details, but it doesn't matter. I ended up doing readings in his office. And I had probably been doing readings in that office for a couple weeks. And I was sitting there and I was doing a reading, and I don't know who it was. But all of a sudden, it was just like, aha, here we are. That vision that I had seen probably 3 years before, and this space that I was in 3 years later had merged. The timeline had come to be. Not in my way, not in how I thought it was going to be, but that was my human interpretation of it, right? I was trying to control it. But I'm so glad that when I called that gentleman and he gave me the name and number of the lady who had the room, the space that I could rent in the store, that I didn't throw it away because it didn't adhere to what I thought, right? Because I had incredible experiences. I have beautiful, dear friends that I met there that I still have, and beautiful, dear clients that I still have. So the moral of the story is, I allowed myself to be in the change, to understand that maybe it wasn't exactly the way I thought, or on the timeline, or all of the details, because the details are not our control. They just aren't. We want them to be, but they are not. So the most practical tool that I believe that we can utilize in feeling safe and secure in the midst of change is our ability to be neutral, okay? And to walk the middle way. This is essential. I have been shown this by my spiritual team for over a year now, how essential it is. And it only keeps getting more vital. So we've got to walk out. We've got to walk away from our opinion and our perception and our idea of right and wrong. And we've got to come to the middle. We really don't have to define. It really can just be. It really can just be. If we allow the perception to just be, if we are willing to let change become whatever it needs to be, right? If we allow it to just be. The really, really essential part of the space of neutrality, and what I think is so important, is that it removes a ton of fear. Because we're not tied to anything. We're not tied to, oh my gosh, if this thing happens, it's going to be horrible. Or if this thing happens, it's going to be wonderful. We're not attached. We're just in the space of being and pure connection. Okay? It removes the fear of making a wrong choice. It removes the fear of not getting a desired outcome. And you're just not holding on tightly, which again allows the energy to flow. That's where we're the alchemist, okay? This is the absolute control of life, to stay in the middle. Out of the opinions and out of the this is bad and this is good. And when we're in the middle, that's ultimate freedom, that's ultimate sovereignty, and that's ultimate control, okay? You make a choice from your feeling, which is your intuition, from the space of neutrality, and then you live it. And in that space, you are safe and well. So, thank you all so much for joining me for episode 4 of Practicality and Magic, Finding Safety in the Midst of Change. I appreciate you all being here live and on the replay. I am here if you need anything, if you have questions, if you want help with anything, if you want a product recommendation. Oh, and I think I did say that I might pull a few cards. Let's do that. So if you are here, I'm here and you want a card, let me know. I'm going to pull a card until I get some messages. And if we do pull a card, it's going to be about something with your control. Okay, I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. So let me know. I don't know if there's a delay. If you want a card, let me know. If not, I'm just going to pull. I'm going to pull one way or another. That's just kind of an overall theme for us. And let's see. Rhino. Oh, I love it. Overcome any obstacle. So this is the card that's the theme for all of us with, finding safety in the midst of change, letting go of our need to control, which is really why we, have fear of change. So overcoming any obstacle. The easiest way to overcome any obstacle is to get neutral, right? Because when we perceive an obstacle, first of all, we perceive it as an obstacle. So we're perceiving it as a mountain or something that's not good or something that's hard, right? So we're already setting ourselves up for something difficult, right? If we can back off of that and say, this is just something that's happening in life and I can deal with it however it's in my highest good. It's just an opportunity for me, right? If we can remove that sense of an obstacle and come back into the space of neutrality, then we're going to find something is going to come, something's going to move in that will help us, and it will probably be very easy. Okay. So, we create our reality. So if we think something's big and awful, it will be big and awful. If we think it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. If we think it's going to be easy, it's going to be easy. If we think it just is, then it's probably going to be easy, right? More than likely. Okay, Claire. So again, rhino spirits. Overcome any obstacle. We can do it, people. We can do it. Even the obstacle of control. Okay. Even the obstacle of control. And Claire, can I just say, you didn't ask for this, so this might be a little controlling, but it's just because it's coming in so much. Like, when I'm with you and John, I can feel the love, both sides. So just know that and trust that. That's where your security is. Okay, that is where your security is. So let's pull a card for Claire about control. And this card, Claire, is going to be about how to release control. Turkey. Oh, I love that. Give with gratitude and grace. Okay. So I'm going to say that the giving and also the receiving, okay, the gratitude and grace, because when we've got our timeline and we've got these hard and fast things that we want to happen or how we think they need to happen, and then they don't, we move from the space of gratitude and we're in the space of judgment, right? And that's the opposite. We're in the space of lack. Because we're not getting what we want. So if you can just pour gratitude and grace into your relationship. And, I had someone one time say something that, I think is very true. And it was simply, even if the only thing that you can think of to be grateful for your partner in the moment is that they warm their side of the bed, move there, right? Or just be neutral. If you can't quite go there, just get yourself to the space of neutrality where you are fully on your pedestal, feeling safe and secure. And then we're filled up. We aren't seeing with lack, right? We're not seeing from a space of not enough or I'm not getting what I want, right? So gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And that has helped me a lot in life when I'm in situations that I'm not feeling appreciated or seen or not, getting what I want. When I go to that space of, well, anything that I can be grateful for, anything, the tiniest little thing helps me. Or if I even get my focus off of the situation or the relationship and go to within myself and my pedestal and I build that up, then suddenly I don't see the lack. I see the fullness, right? When we feel lack inside, we're going to see lack everywhere outside of us. When we feel full within, we're going to see fullness everywhere. So I love that turkey. And isn't that kind of perfect too? Like Thanksgiving and fall, like, and then you get the turkey. I love it. Might have been, more appropriate for bat since it is, season of Halloween, but still. Anyway, it's turkey, and I think that was pretty cool. Okay, Gina. She would love a card specific to change in her world and how to approach it. Okay, Gina. So, wolf. Turn knowledge into wisdom. Okay, so this card is so perfect for, changing your world and how to approach it and what we've been talking about with the neutrality, because turning knowledge into wisdom. Knowledge is often opinion, right? It's this is good, this isn't good. I've got to learn this, I've got to learn that. I need to, study this or study that. Wisdom just is. We don't have to search anywhere outside of us for it, right? It just is. It just is within us always. And so, where can you come at the situation from a space of wisdom, from a space of calling in your divine self, right? Rather than, and that neutral self who's just connected without an agenda, without an opinion. That's wisdom. Wisdom doesn't need to have an agenda. Wisdom doesn't need to try to control anything because it just is. Knowledge does often try to control, right? It tries to say this is good, this is bad. And wisdom just is. So where can you come at the situation from the space of knowledge? And I can't also ignore the fact that it's a wolf. So it feels like in the situation, the wisdom is going to lead you to the space of maybe being the leader in a way that you weren't expecting or that you're not sure you're ready for, but you are. Okay? So thank you, everybody, so much. Oh, Denise. Okay. So, Gina, did that make sense for you? I hope so. I would love a card. So, Denise, let me put this up here so that everybody can read it. I would love a card regarding a male relationship. I feel uncomfortable in his presence sometimes, yet I feel there is a reason to be friends. I am definitely not interested romantically. Okay, so I feel that you're being drawn there because there's some lessons to be learned. And Denise, they don't feel, here I go, saying, let's not define things as good and bad, but they don't, it feels like there are some lessons to be learned. And it's not necessarily a comfortable lesson, but it's a very important lesson. And this feels like kind of the solidification of the lesson for you. So if you can stay in it, very boundaried. Very boundaried is what I'm getting. You need to be very, very boundaried when it comes to this relationship. Protect yourself always. Like, protect your emotions, protect your energy. You need to be protected. And there's a lesson. So it's important. And you will, and I'm feeling I got to pull two. I don't know why. I was pulling the top card and then I felt I had to go in the deck too. So let's see what this says. Badger. Be fearless and bold. Okay. So, to me, this is just saying like, yes, go with this, stay, be in this relationship, protected and boundaried to get the insight and the wisdom from this that you need to learn the lesson that you need. But be careful about being so like badgery with even what you're learning. Like, I need to do this so that I can learn this. Just kind of step back, go to that neutral space, and just allow it to unfold without opinion, without judgment. Just allow it to unfold. We usually get our best insights when we're the observer, even within our own life, or especially when we're dealing with stuff in our own life. Okay, when we can be the observer. So don't go at it like, in the way of a badger, like where you're badgering about it. Just sit in peace with it. Okay. The next card is Lion in reverse. Be generous of spirit. To me, this is just speaking to what I said about being boundaried, right? You got to protect your power. This is in protection mode. Lion is about power, right? When we feel in control and powerful, we can be generous, right? We can be generous of spirit. When we don't feel powerful, when we don't feel in control, we're not generous. Again, we're in that space of lack. So this card is speaking to what I said about being very, very protective of yourself. You need to be there, but you need to be protective. Okay. All right. I haven't heard from anybody else, so I think that's it. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your love and support of my show. This new show that I've started, we're just, in the beginning stages, and I think, I'm really proud of it so far, and I appreciate all of the support so much. And, I would love it if you would recommend it to a friend, or, share it in some way, or whatever you feel led. And if not, that's perfect too. So thank you all so much. I love you. Have a beautiful first day of fall. I almost forgot to say that. And I will see you all soon.